morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Miss Sin Chongfong, will represent feasibility study of Tin Kwang Road Respiration Ground. Here is my findings after the performance test. So let's have a look at our findings. So the content will be, first of all, why we need the redevelopment of the venue, and second, we would like to compare the performance of the current situation and the standards. And then I will provide some options for the improvement works. And then a recommendation will be provided as well. Then will be our question and answer section. Shall we begin?
Sure.
Yeah. So to start with, what do you think? Why we need redevelopment?
Maybe the failure is not doing good.
Such as?
The grass is not in a normal coloring. Maybe it's turn yellow easily.
All right. Yellow, brown, something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also maybe.
There's a lot of water hole after heavy rain.
All right. Yep. There we do. So let's see how our users say as well. I actually went to the venue and conduct some casual interview with the users and the frontline staff. So see what I found. So I actually got similar answers from both parties. So the pitch is very hard to turn when playing soccer. And waterlogging quite an issue, and the loss of turf after the games or during the games could be recognized by both users and frontline staff. And for the frontline staff, they also pointed out that the venue actually does not have an irrigation system.
No, sorry, can I confirm one thing first?
All right.
Is this venue usually have scholar training competitions? So on this valley?
Yes. Normally school practice will be on during the weekdays mainly. And the competition will be conducted during the weekends and the public holidays. And so the heavy use will be during the weekends.
Okay, so from the comments I can see it is easy to lose the turf. So yeah. It will be our main concern on this valley, right?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So let's see our findings. The root depth, I actually used the soil sampler for getting some samples. So you can see from this picture, I actually get the soil profile as well as the turf root depth. So from our current situation, we'll be having 4 to 5 centimeters. But for the standards, they will be much higher. So we need some improvement. Infiltration is about how fast the rain or the water from the turf surface down to the soil level. Current situation and our standard is quite huge difference. So we need to improve that as well. Attraction is about the turning effect. So current situation, standard situation. So it's not quite met the standard. Surface hardness, both the staff and our user mentioned that as well. So currently we have minimum of 74 gravities, and for the standard we should have like 10 to 20 G's instead of 74. So that one will need to be improved. For surface evenness, so which means how flat unity our surface is. So we actually doing quite good. So 2.9 millimeters for the standard deviation. So we actually meet it. For ground coverage, means how well the turf actually cover for the whole patch. So currently we have 99.8%, and for the standard, we that was the basic and standard we both met. So for the summary, let's see. So the first 4, we didn't meet the standard. For the last 2, we actually have smiling face. We actually met the standards. So that will be 1/3 we met the standards.
Sorry?
1/3. Yes.
So can you show me back the picture you for this value? As I remember, it's quite nice.
All right. You mean the front page, right? Let me do that.
It seemed not became quite nice, but you just told me it's only 1/3 meeting the standard.
Yes.
Why is this happening?
Oh, it's all about the soil, actually, not the soil issue. From the first 4 tests, it's all about the soil. I can show you the soil profile here. And you see the root depth is quite short. Mainly should be because of the soil underneath the root actually become clay. The texture become clay, as well as they develop thin, tiny layers of black layer, which disturb the root growth, as well as the waterlogging. And for the infiltration test, we found out that water is quite hard to infiltrate, which means the water is hard to get away from the surface down to the bottom. It is simply because the soil texture become too clay, become too the macropores become less and less. So it didn't provide enough space for the water to get through. So that's why we got very bad infiltration weight. So for traction, so that's the result after the turf and the soil become less and less organic. So actually the turf is suffocated, no less macropores. So less air between the soil, less moisture, too much moisture within the soil. So the surface become harder. So when you do the traction, it's hard to turn, and the turf actually not grab the soil well. So when you turn, you actually damage the turf quite severely. For the hardness, as we mentioned before, after the soil become clay in texture and developed the black layer, as well as for the top part of the pitch, there will be quite thick organic matters accumulated. So the surface become harder and harder. Yeah, that's why we need to do some improvement.
So according to your finding, do you have any suggestion how can we improve this failure?
Yeah, sure. So let's see our options. All right. So we have two options from the report. I actually have quite several pages to show you what the two options are. So now we just have some summaries. So we need the irrigation system, and we need to lay some drains, like main drains and lateral drains. And then after the works, we have to returfing and do the top dressing. That would be option one.
Mm-hmm.
Option two will have a bigger construction. So we remove the existing turf cover, we leveling first, and then cultivate the whole field. Then we install the irrigation system and the drains, like the option one. But we also add on the slick drains. And then the sand carpet layer will be above all the drains. Then we do the closing, like the returfing and top dressing. So let's compare the options. Okay, for the time being, it will be main concern about the construction time, as it will be the closure time for the whole venue. So 87 days for option one. We do the 5 aspects, and the cost will be estimated around $320,000. And it's very likely we can get the funding from the past experience, we reckoned. And for option two, that will be the construction time would be 110 days at least. And then we actually do some more works, like removing and so forth. The budget will be a lot higher, like 300% higher than the option ones. And because of the much more expensive budget, it's unlikely we can get the budget from get the funding from the government. So we recommend option one. That would be an easier option, so you can really kick off for the first stage. So why option one? Why we recommend it? So first of all, mainly to the construction time will be heavily affected the users. So they have main concerns about the time. So shorter closure time means they will get more chances to play on. So we cover the basics. Cheaper, of course, because that's the only basics ones. So likely we get the funding. So option two, longer closure time, of course more in-depth and good ones. So much more expensive and unlikely we get the funding. So we prefer option one. So easier to get the funding and approval. So future improvement, we should say, will be option two. Add the new items at option two will be better. All right, Q&A sections.
仲有10秒。Actually, I have a few questions for you.
Yep.
Can you go back to the conclusion page for yeah,
This one.
this one.
Okay.
Okay, I can see you have comparisons on two options on four categories like construction times, content, budget, and how likely we got the funding.
Mm.
But you are highly recommend the cheaper one.
Mm.
But I can see option two seems like the content will be upgrading, the value will be more.
Mm.
Also the budget will be 300% more.
Yes, indeed.
Besides, only the construction days for options one is shorter.
Yep.
Why we have to go for option one, not option two?
It's mainly because of the we consider mainly two aspects. The first will be the budget.
Mm-hmm.
You can get from the council, the government. Second will be the construction time. Seems likely the construction time is just like 20 something days more than the more, and we will get more in-depth thorough construction, and actually the more upgrading the turf performance.
Mm-hmm.
But from the past experience, we actually got quite upsetting funding applications.
Mm-hmm.
It's really high budget at the option two, because those sand carpet layers and as well as the preparing the field for laying the drains are much more expensive than just cover the basics.
Can you tell me, if I chose option ones, how much time I can use this venue without an additional funding?
I should say after doing the option one's construction, it will be
The venue
it will last like 4 to 5 years before another you can say second phase construction.
But for option twos,
For option two would be like for 10 years you will have another
I don't need additional funding to revenue this location, right?
yeah, you can say that. So it's like
Every time I need to do revelation work, I have to cost for this value for 60 days at least, right?
yeah, for the summer coastal time will be like 60 days, and for the winter time will be like 30 days.
Okay.
So we'll add on, actually we'll add on like for option one, for every 5 years you may add like 30 days for another major redevelopment phase. For option two, you we say every 10 years, yeah, you have another major redevelopment project.
So may I conclude like this? If I choose option one, this is a short-term solution.
Yeah.
For option two, it will be a long
term, yeah, the long term ones, and that really depends on how likely you can get the fundings. Yeah, we don't want to give people false hopes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to get funding. From our experience work dealing with you guys, and we often recognize the less budget it will be.
Mm-hmm.
So easier you can get the funding first. So we maybe we should focus on the short-term re-improvement work first, and later on we can do the maybe the second phase in 5 years maybe. Yeah.
Okay, I have no more question for you.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.